go back to Larry Pratt. Larry, continuing with Barack Obama, the hardcore anti-gun commissar.
Well, just to wrap up what we had been talking about before the break, Obama thought that this homeowner who defended his family against a home invader should go to jail. And happily, the legislature said no, and they passed a law which exempted anybody using an illegal gun as long as it had been used in self-defense. And so finally, Hallie DeMar was able to walk free. Another measure that Obama supported was no gun stores within 5 miles of a school. Now, he didn't have that concern about porn shops, just gun stores. And if you get your little high school compass out and draw a circle on a map,
that's everywhere.
It's everywhere, even in rural areas. You know, maybe you'll have a store at the top of Pikes Peak or something, but it's going to be pretty
gun
hard.
Stores are always near the center of town, and so are the schools.
Well, that's kind of where the people are, and customers for both. So, funny thing that. So, yeah, one of the things that's really chilled me is I've dug into some of the work that Jerome Corsi has done. The journalist that went over to Kenya wrote a book about Obama called Obama Nation. You say it fast, it comes out Abomination. He has, I think, proven beyond any shadow of a doubt. He's got copies of email from Obama's Senate office to the guy, a Marxist Muslim thug who ran for president, was defeated at the end of last year, comes from the same tribe that Obama's daddy does, the Luo tribe. They're a minority, so it's not too surprising that he lost the election. It kind of has been working that way since independence. And the plan that Obama was in on developing for the whole campaign, he went over and campaigned for the guy in 2006 on your nickel and on mine. It was a Senate fact-finding trip. Well, actually, it was a campaign trip, and we've got the pictures of the guy campaigning with this guy, Rally Odinga. Odinga, by the way, was educated in East Germany, so his daddy was pretty red too, and he named his oldest son Fidel Castro Odinga. So, just when you start looking at the surface of the thing, you begin to think, I don't think he's like most of us. Well, he's not. He signed a deal with the radical Muslims that if he were to win, he would put the whole country under Sharia law, like honor killing your daughter who doesn't do what you want. That's okay. That would have been imposed on the whole country within a year. And the election plan that Obama developed with Odinga, and again, they've got the correspondence between the Senate office and Odinga campaign, and the correspondence was bootlegged out by defectors from the campaign when they saw what actually happened. In the plan, there was provision that if we lose, like when we lose, we will provoke violence, and they absolutely put those words down through provoking class war, which actually over there means tribal.
Black on black.
Black on black. The Luo.
It's the same thing like racism here. In fact, that's how tribalism is. They hate each other even more than any race stuff we've got over here.
It's quite colorblind, but it's hatred all the same, and it's quite lethal because the majority Kikuyu, who are largely Christian, like the Luo or majority Muslim, 1,000 of them were murdered in a pogrom brought about by the Obama-Odinga plan.
Now stay there. And again, folks, this is all documented. We're just covering the facts here. Think about the magnitude. The Obama campaign working on how to stir up violence against Christians. These people are terrorists. His mother, his father, they're all admitted Marxist-Leninists. We are in a lot of trouble, folks. Larry Pratt, stay with us. Why has Barack Obama gotten 3 times the Wall Street money of John McCain? Why does he have the big Annenberg foundations, the Rockefeller foundations funding him? It's mainline history. Big bankers in New York and London funded the communists as a way to consolidate and steal land, murder the middle class, enslave the peasantry. It's now declassified. The U.S. government put Mao into power. That's even on History Channel. And this is also going to destroy for a long time the image of a black president. You know, I mean, do we have a black guy named, David Johnson? No, we don't. You know, why couldn't it be a pro-gun, pro-U.S., pro-national sovereignty, cut the taxes, get us out of NAFTA and GATT, all of which are popular? I mean, McCain would guarantee he'd be winning if he was saying all that right now. But he can't criticize Obama on any of it because he's for all of it. I would love to vote for a black man who was like Ron Paul. But we can't do that. No, the first black guy they give us in the corporate run is somebody they can destroy any minute they want with those emails, fomenting violence when they knew they'd lose the election, rioting, killing. All the dirt on him. I mean, this guy is a complete foundation poverty pimp. Continuing with Larry Pratt, Gun Owners of America, as we break down the real Barack Obama. Please continue.
Okay, well, before the break, we were talking about the plan that Obama had worked out with this guy, Raila Odinga. Odinga claims to be his cousin, which is at least possible because they're both from the same region, the same tribe. The important thing is that they seem to have not only the same tribal connections, but they're both Marxists, and they both have had at least some exposure to Islam. How much so is perhaps still being debated, but the key thing is they both could have been happy doing the chant that I heard when I was a student, which dates me, this is back in the 60s, that the anti-Western radicals who now control our universities were chanting, ho, 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 Western civs gotta go. Well, they're just about at the point where they can pull off the chant. It's no longer a chant or a bumper sticker. And so you've got a real deeply immersed in hatred of Western civilization sort of guy in Obama, working with ditto in Kenya. And they went all through 07. The campaign unfolded. December election, not surprisingly, because minority party Odinga lost. January and February of this year were the 2 months of horrible violence. Over 1,000 Christians murdered. No Muslims were murdered. There were over 800 churches burned to the ground. One of them had 30 Christians locked inside from the outside that was burned down. And tens of thousands had to flee their homes. Total disruption. Finally, the majority, President Kibaki, who's a Kikuyu of the majority tribe, buckled. And he said, okay, we'll invent, no, he didn't quite put it this way, we'll invent a new position in government called Prime Minister, and it ended up a power-sharing arrangement being worked out. Now, when Corsi went over to get this documentation that a lot of what I'm saying is based on, although you can find on the Internet the campaign plan, you can find on the Internet from the National Kenyan Association of Evangelicals the agreement that Odinga signed with the Muslim sheikhs to put the country under Islamic law. So some of the key points, we're not making this stuff up. It's out there for anybody to go find and look at, and I've got it all in my files, you can betcha. So they gave this guy the prime ministership and a number of portfolios in the government. When Corsi went over, he was on his way back. He was going to go to a hotel, have a news conference, and expose Odinga for what he was and how he'd been working with Obama. And he was arrested by the immigration police. Well, at that point, I knew, without knowing what portfolios had been given to Odinga, that he controlled those police. And sure enough, about 3 days later, digging some more into this thing, that was one of the portfolios he had been given. So Odinga just grabbed this guy, Corsi, 15 minutes away from a news conference, and detained him for the whole day, and then finally, they ran him out of the country. But he came out with the goods. He probably only got out because he was able, before they realized what he was doing, he was able to text message on his telephone to Joseph Farah at WorldNet Daily. He put it up on his website, which is visited probably almost as much as Drudge. That got Farah onto Fox. It also got him onto CNN International. And at that point, they realized they had a bit of an incident, and that's when they let him go.
All right, let's go over this. We also gave the phone number out right after he got grabbed.
Excellent.
Here on the show to the embassies. But let's break this down here. His mother's an admitted communist. His father's an admitted communist. He's around admitted bombers that bombed police, blew their faces off, blinded them.
And the man in Hawaii that raised him, kind of discipled him, better word, Franklin Marshall Davis, was an open communist. I mean, nobody.
But that's what I mean. There's no one that isn't a commie.
Right.
I mean, people laugh, oh, commie's going to get us. The guy is open, redistribute the wealth, exactly what the bankers want. But see, the poor little commies on the ground don't understand.
It's what he told Joe the plumber.
That it never gets transferred to you. It always goes to the international bankers.
Yeah, there's a handling fee that's a bit excessive.
Yeah, 98% of it. And then all you get is black uniforms and cameras and checkpoints. And now he's going to have all this left covered. Now, I know there's been election fraud. I know both parties are bought and paid for by the New World Order. The New World Order just plays different sides off against us. But I mean, this Barack Obama stuff, who could make it up?